Okay, so I think we're ready to start. Thank you everyone for joining today. I'm actually very excited for this panel because this is the first time when us, Solana, is bringing Solana India ecosystem founders together, and they will be sharing directly with the hackathon participants their experience and their interest in Solana ecosystem. So today, we are two of us coordinating the panel. I am a Solana ecosystem growth lead, and we have Denver from the Folio team who have been great help in India. Denver, maybe if you want to introduce again.
Hey everyone, so really glad to be here. And so we've been helping coordinating this hackathon overall and seen a great response. And even today, like really glad to see all the founders building on Solana from India join us today and speak about their experience.
Thank you, Denver. Speaking of founders, we have 4 Solana projects joining today, and I will introduce them now, and then I will give each of them some time to introduce their project and what they are doing on Solana. So we have Shardul from Cyclos team, Amitej from Stader Labs, Sreekanth from SolRazr, and Saurabh from Krida.Fans. So I think we can start with maybe Shardul introducing himself and how you found Solana and what you guys are building in Cyclos.
Awesome. So thank you, Tamar. So my name is Shardul and I am a co-founder and developer at Cyclos. So we are building a concentrated liquidity market maker on Project Serum. So instead of having direct liquidity pools, we thought of innovating on top of the architecture and infrastructure which Solana provides. So it's something which we are innovating, that is bringing Uniswap liquidity to Project Serum. So my journey started in February of 2021, where I encountered where I participated in my first hackathon for Web3, which was ETH Denver in 2021. So the Solana had the hackathon had a nice metaverse where you could explore around with your avatar, and then there was this little booth of Solana, and I found that there's a fast blockchain called Solana, and they were having the hackathon in March. So I happened to participate over there. So we didn't win in the first hackathon, but it was a very nice learning experience. So I actually continued exploring Solana, continued building, and we built a nice product for the hackathon, for the recent hackathon, Solana season hackathon, and then we happened to raise funding, and we hope to go to market soon in like a week or two. So this was my journey.
Thank you, Shardul. I think important thing to mention, and I forgot about it, is we have from 4 teams, actually 2 of them are our previous hackathon winner teams, so Cyclos and Stader Labs. And both of the teams have kept growing and scaling ever since the last hackathon. And now they are judging the current one. So maybe Amitej, you can introduce yourself next.
Thanks a lot, Tamar. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the panel discussion. And thanks to Devfolio and the Solana team for having me on board. It's been an amazing experience actually working with the Solana team and building it out on Solana. We actually, Sid is my co-founder and partner. Sid and I started our crypto journey building on Solana back in March or April. It was the entire ecosystem and the Solana team were quite helpful, and they supported us with all kinds of resources. Especially I should quote Tamar as one of the helping hands that is. I'm sure. I'm sure all of you must have faced that with Tama. She's such a lovely person, and she's helped us throughout the journey. So I think one of the things that we really like about Solana and a few new generation blockchains, and especially Solana, is the kind of improvements that they have brought on board on top of the existing blockchains and proof of stake. Right, like Solana is probably the fastest blockchain to date, processing probably like hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. So that's one of the unique points that attracted us towards Solana, and the kind of innovation that was happening back then, about 4 5 months ago with Serum, a lot of metaverse and NFT projects that were getting built on Solana was a major factor that made us look at Solana and start our journey with Solana. So as we speak, our tech team is busy wrapping their heads around the newest product that they've launched, which is the stake pools. And we are trying to build an innovative stake pools plus DeFi platform on Solana. So we expect to probably go live in a month or so on Solana as well.
Thank you, Amitej. Thank you for being too kind to me. And maybe next, Saurabh, if you please introduce yourself and talk about Krida.Fans.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody, Saurabh here. So like Amitej told and Shardul told, so I also started a journey in the first of the quarter. I think Feb we have started, me and Bob thought of Krida.Fans, and then started our journey through Solana. Before that, I was an advisor in NFTLI, that is a kind of ETH-based NFT marketplace. And then what Solana excited us is, like Amitej told, it's really fast. That is the best thing that we find it out. And when you say that this like blockchain trilemma, right? The scalability, security. So everything was in a pack. So Solana gave us those scalability, and we wanted to have a low cost platform so that the players who are going to, or the users who are going to play the game, they should not be being pay much. And being on the L1 blockchain and with the low cost and that much scalability and that much fast transaction, we never found it. So and the last thing is I echo with everybody. Tama, you and your community, the Solana community, helped us a lot to grow. So everywhere, whenever we get stuck, Discord was just a ping to Discord, and we getting help. And then the community and the ecosystem within 2-3 months, they have grown up like anything. And now we have. When I started, I still remember we used to have Bonfida code, nothing else, and then Serum. But now the community has been grown a lot, and the help that we are getting with the devs are getting those help is really incredible. So thanks a lot. And yeah, and as per as Krida.Fans, yeah, our devs are busy with doing the lot many good things, and hopefully we are going to be live by next month.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And finally, of course, Sreekanth, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Tamar, for inviting me to this panel discussion. Hey guys, I'm Sreekanth, and I'm the co-founder of SolRazr. I've spent the last 15 plus years building products in various domains, but most importantly in advertising technology space. Our previous AdTech startup, we had a successful exit to Walmart Labs 2 years ago. I've been a passive investor / observer in blockchain and cryptocurrency since 2017, like most of the Indians did back then, and spent a lot of time understanding various use cases being built over the last 4 years before finally deciding to start my own venture. So earlier this year, I co-founded SolRazr with Vijay, who's a close friend of mine. I've known him for nearly 2 decades. We studied together. So when we started, we actually started building a platform on Ethereum first. And we quickly realized that Ethereum is not really suited for our needs. In order to support hundreds of thousands of retail investors, we needed a blockchain that is extremely fast, extremely cheap to transact without compromising decentralization. When I've been following Solana for more than 2 years now, when we went deeper, we found it to be exactly what we wanted: fast, cheap, and more importantly, a growing ecosystem. As many developers have started to migrate over. So we quickly pivoted to building everything on Solana and even rebranded to SolRazr. We're the first decentralized launchpad and a developer platform for Solana. We're actually solving two critical problems. One is helping projects raise capital, as well as provide developer tools to build faster on Solana. I'm personally very, very bullish on Solana, and I'm looking forward to what gets built by those participating in the India Hackathon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sreekanth. So actually, why this panel is important is to introduce what you guys are building across different projects, but also to give them some ideas and tips in terms of how to build their successful projects. So I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for the developers that are listening in right now regarding directions, what they should be looking into, what ideas should they be developing, what is trendy in Solana ecosystem? You know the ecosystem now, you have been following pretty closely, so maybe Amitej, you can start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I would have probably told this to a 6-month younger self of mine. I think one of the major areas that is going to explode, it already did, but it has got like immense potential in the future, is the NFTs and gaming ecosystem, which is probably the sexier part of crypto. Of course, there's a lot of money in DeFi, but I would urge a lot of young developers and passionate builders to look at that ecosystem as well. Specifically in India, our awareness levels about crypto are pretty low compared to the developed markets. But I think given the kind of immense talent that we have, we should focus a lot more on some of these spaces which we are not exposed to yet. So that is the direction I would ask people to look at. Of course, follow your passion all the times. If you're passionate about DeFi, by all means, there are umpteen number of opportunities in DeFi as well.
Yeah, and Solana is especially known for DeFi, having a lot of DeFi applications on top. So definitely, I agree with that. What do you think, Sreekanth? Any advice for our listeners?
Sure. I mean, my advice is going to be kind of a bit nuanced. So if you are someone who wants to follow the trend and definitely look for narratives that are becoming popular, right? NFTs, gaming, DeFi. And if you're building for the long term, then just simply ask yourself if you're convinced whether this narrative has a long-term potential. Or if you're someone, as Amitej put it, right, who wants to follow your passion, then and that one problem that you always wanted to solve. I mean, L1 blockchains like Solana, I mean, they act as the underlying infrastructure on which you can pretty much build anything that is fast, cheap, or tamper-proof. I mean, irrespective of how the world around you changes, consumers always want something that is fast, better, and cheap. I mean, Amazon did this, so build for your consumers.
Thank you. Shardul, any advice to share?
Yeah, definitely. So, Sreekanth and Amitej gave the insights about building great products, but, there's something, most of you, when I looked up on Discord, a lot of people were struggling with Rust and, saying whatnot. So, there's always room for building developer tools, building open source projects, which actually help out other projects which build on Solana. Probably, a lot of people are having difficulty with Rust. Probably you could explore something like, you could build an anchor framework for C++ or maybe an online IDE where you can code online without installing stuff on your local computer. So there's, in fact, there's besides funding, there are open source grants available for building, such tools. So there's an entire community of, such developers which are building SDKs in Java, in .NET. So, probably you should also explore that space.
Thank you, Shardul. Saurabh?
Yeah, so two things, right? One is on the Solana. Why on Solana? So we always know that it's very, very scalable, 65,000 transaction per second, no blockchain gives you. And then we have this proof of history concept in Solana, which gives you a very secure blockchain, right? So that's why Solana. And then you have, if you want to start with Solana, like I started, I can share my experiences going with few of the YouTubes. I think David Choi YouTube is very good, and then James YouTube is awesome, and then definitely SolHack, since SolHack gives you a lot many training on how to stage your Rust is one of the beautiful training that I have been through, and it's give you. So for building on Solana, that is the one thing is that you should must know Rust, and I think YouTube videos and a few of the SolHack things will enable you to learn the Rust. So that's one thing. And then about the ideas, if you see, I think there are three parts of that. My perspective is that there are three kinds of people, right? One is the problem solver, second is the innovator, and third is one who is just know that there is a problem and already get it solved, and there is kind of innovation also there. However, we can make it more friendly or make it more reaching to the people, right? So you can see that like a DJ app example. So they are not going to solve, they are not solving much problem, but they are very much famous now. Since why? They have added the joy and pride in their application. So I think DeFi is good, no problem. Innovation and problem solving is also good. But being in an NFT marketplace, if you wanted to do something with your products, which is enable you to have a joy and pride. So when I go to Design app application, the first thing that I feel a lot more joy. Since the moment I open that app, a smile comes on my face that, okay, this is how this thing's going on. And second thing, they give you a pride that, okay, you own this NFT and then you have a pride. So I think the most important thing, and that's in Krida.Fans also we are doing, is we are innovating, we are solving some problems, but as a part of that, we are trying to add joy and pride to our product so that you can have fun while playing, and you can have pride also that, okay, you have earned something that we are calling the community badge. So you have a community badge that you have earned and you are proud of earning that badge. So these are the components. If are there, I think you will make an awesome product.
Thank you, Saurabh. I have an advice because Saurabh mentioned like three types of people, and I'm actually curious. Do you have any advice for the developers in terms of how they should form the teams? Because we've seen that a lot of applications that we received for building out loud hackathon, they are individual applications as well. So any advice how to choose the partner, how to choose the partner in crime? That would be, I think, pretty helpful. And I'm talking about long-term partnership here and building a project together. What do you think, Saurabh?
So the first thing is that the first guy that you should hire whom you know from a long time. I think everybody will echo with me, since if you have a partner in crime and at whom you know that, okay, he can help you and he has the same passion that you have to solve the problem. So that is the one thing. Then after that, community will help you to hire many people. So for me, if you take my experience being in tech industry in 15 years, we do have already the people who are ready to build with us. So we didn't feel any problem much. But what I see that when we reach the community also helped us a lot to meet people, since we didn't know anybody who develops on Rust. And then I learned Rust by myself, and then my friends, and then community, we find it out people who can build for us. So my advice is, one, that build with someone who you know from a long time. Second thing, if you don't have that type of tech people, make some mentorship, make it to learn to those people who you know. Otherwise, take from the community and build a stronger relationship and to start with. And slowly, once you grow, people will keep on joining you. That's
Thank you.
the way actually we did it.
I see. Thank you. I kind of disagree with the first point though, because I've seen so many successful projects which just met a week before the hackathon and then they build up amazing projects on Solana as well. What do you think, Shardul, about it? Any advice to share?
Yeah, definitely. So, I believe a lot of people, a lot of participants among you have, participated in not one, but multiple hackathons. It's very easy, like I agree it's a good learning experience, like going solo or going with your friends. But sometimes, sometimes it's, the leverage, the extra abilities that you get by, partnering up with people in the community whom you might not know directly, but who might be really good in the trade. So it's one of the goals. Some hackathons require team memberships. You can't participate solo. So there's an incentive. You should always try to explore. You should try teaming up with new people. You'll find really good, great and amazing people. And probably you could, like, one day you could become a co-founder with them. So this happened with me actually. So I partnered with Daniel. So Daniel is like, he's an American actually. He's an American, and I'm based in India. But that wasn't a barrier. So we happened to be, we met for the hackathon and we built a great product, and we are still building now.
Amazing. Thank you, Shardul. Sreekanth, any advice to share?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with what Shardul and you've said, Kumar, right? I mean, while I personally have partnered with a friend that I've known for a very, very long time, but I also have a lot of friends who've been building stuff in crypto, and most of them I've never seen. And a lot of them actually helped us with a ton of things in the past. And some of them even backed our project as well. So, I mean, you guys are already doing the right thing, but I mean, the first step is to essentially participate in hackathons like this, attend conferences. I know, as Amitej said, the exposure to crypto in India is not that much. It's definitely increasing over the last few years. So the first step is to essentially go out there, look out for people who are building actively or at least wanting to build on blockchain, cryptocurrency space, find like-minded people and spend some time, exchange notes, and you build the connection. I mean, I'm sure you'll definitely find someone that you can partner with.
Thank you.
Also, in terms of, I mean, just another point that I wanted to add is that there is also this, I wouldn't call it as a myth, but there's this fear that most people feel when it comes to Solana that they have to know Rust, right? Which is not necessarily true, especially for the beginners. You can actually go a long way just by using Solana's Web3 SDK, the Solana program library, which already has multiple programs deployed. I mean, you can try to, essentially get your hands dirty, just try to see what has already been done, has already been built. Try to understand how those programs are written and see if you can reuse some of them, right? I mean, you can actually go a long way knowing and building stuff in Web3, and Web3 is all JavaScript. So pretty much most of the developers would know that.
Yeah, thank you for that point, Sreekanth, because we got a lot of questions about that, even in the Discord. So thank you for bringing that point up. Amitej, how did you choose your partner?
So I was very lucky because I have known Sid for almost 15 years, and we used to jam ideas. We in fact tried a couple of ideas over the last 2-3 years. So that way, I was one of the lucky guys to find a partner that could stick with me through thick and thin. But then rest of the team was just happenstance. Couple of guys just from the community. I found a marketer who lives in Argentina, so he started helping us out with marketing. So it just happens in crypto. I don't think any other industry is so global and so remote right from day zero. But my advice is, I think if you're passionate about building and starting, do not worry about, of course, if you have somebody to start this journey with together, that's great. Even if you don't have anybody, don't get disheartened. You can just start building out, and if the idea is great, if there is traction, the team will automatically follow.
Thank you, Amitej. Actually, on the point of crypto being super global and remote, I've seen a lot of projects, especially new builders on Solana, experiencing a lot of challenges, not only in terms of scalability, but multiple other directions. From your experience, maybe you can share some of the challenges that you have been going through during the process of building up your project. And what are the learning points that you think worth sharing with builders?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you asking this question to me or somebody else?
Or you can start with
Okay.
them. Yes.
Okay, sure. I think it just I'm not a traditional crypto guy. I got into this space only about a year ago. So at the beginning, it was quite overwhelming, the entire space and the kind of innovation that was happening, and the kind of startups, funding, etc., was just too overwhelming for me at least. So it's important. Despite the fact that this is a new industry, the business logic or the fundamentals are the same. So I would say, though it is overwhelming at the beginning, don't just get disheartened. Just keep building a brick at a time, priorities at a time. So that was the major learning I had. And then obviously you focus on something, just get that out of your way, and then move to the next one instead of trying to do too many things at the same time.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. Focus is super important, and I think you guys won one of the top prizes in the previous hackathon, right? And I think your focus was super important factor for that as well. Shardul, what do you think about the question? Any things to share with the builders?
So can you actually get back to the question?
Yeah, just the challenges that you have been through as a project, because now you're also very soon launching a token as well. I'm just curious, what were the challenges during the process from the hackathon till today that you want to share and you successfully overcame and learned something?
Okay. So see, the first thing is, please, if you are building on Solana, please use the Anchor framework. So there's so Anchor is pretty new, but it's it's like it will reduce your building time on Solana by 90%. It takes away a lot of boilerplate, and it has a very active community. I mean, like, very active. So if you have any difficulty, you shouldn't you should always ask. Asking others is always helpful. The Web3 communities, especially crypto, the founders are very helpful. The community is helpful. So even if people have these anonymous names on Twitter or Discord, but people will come and help you out if if you're genuine, if you really have some genuine questions.
Thank you, Shardul. Saurabh?
Yeah, so two things, right? One is the technical challenges, and the second thing is the business challenges, right? So the technical challenges that we faced in our earlier phase is the NFTs part, that we had concept of in-game NFTs, right? So we struggle a bit on finding the NFT standards, since when we started there was no NFT standards at that place. So then we try to find it out. We build our own standards, and then finally now the Metaplex is there, and then we are building on this. So we reiterated our NFTs actually, but it's good. We learned a lot in this phase. So challenges also comes with an opportunities, right? Since now we know that how the NFTs works in a pretty good standards, and then how can we showcase to the multiple wallets like Phantom. So that is the technical one. And then I completely agree with Mitesh. So the business challenges are also there, since it was for me as well, being a bit techie guy, it was too much overwhelming for me as well when we had to meet multiple people and make them to understand, okay, why Krida.Fans, right? So that was a bit tough, since we are not from DeFi. So DeFi was pretty easier to make them to understand. But my advice is that if you're facing those type of challenges, make sure that your visions are very clear, your purpose is very clear, what you are going to show to your consumers, and build on top of it, so that you know that whenever you are going to present and we are going to make the things presentable, they understand that what you are building. So that is the one thing. And technical challenges were always there, since we all are technicals, and we know that today something is working, tomorrow not work. So it's keep on iterating the things and coding and keep on learning. And definitely agree with Shardul, since the community is awesome. Anchor community is also awesome. Solhack is also good. Solana community is also doing a great job. I still remember when we are building, and even a small, very lame questions also you ask, people used to reply in a very good way. So there's nothing like a lame questions. Even initially we struggled to run the example hello world, that is a Solana repo, but the way people helped us and then the community helped, we started learning pretty fast. So ask as much you can ask in the communities, Discord communities, and I think community is great, and they will going to help you a lot.
Thank you very much. Sreekanth?
Yeah. The challenges, I mean, we are very early. I mean, we have seen massive growth in crypto, right? But in terms of the number of use cases that is being solved today, and in terms of the number of people, I think we're still very early, right? I mean, essentially, it means two things. One, that someone who wants to enter the space, while it is difficult to kind of wrap your head around what's going on, what is blockchain? I mean, why do I need to use it? But then the other thing is, I mean, as a developer, it's not that hard once you kind of just spend time understanding the fundamentals. I think it's just becomes easier as you start to build about it. I think the technical challenges will be overcome, just like how you overcome any technical challenges in any startup, right? It doesn't have to be a blockchain startup. But also the advantage that you have is once you crack that, the opportunities are endless. Like it's the 90s of internet, right? So not many people are building on it, so you have a lot of scope to do that. So whether you are good at marketing, good at business, not so good at business, not so good at marketing, just focus on what your consumers want. Look at the narratives that are becoming popular. If you're convinced, then just go ahead and start building on it. The other problem that a lot of projects would face in crypto is, whether we like it or not, most of the retail investors are attracted to the space because of the money in it, which essentially means a lot of developers also want to come fast to this space and try to build something very quick, right? I mean, most of those projects would not sustain. If you are someone who's just here for building for those who are just interested in the money part of it, it's very difficult to kind of succeed in the long term, right? Most projects start 6 months, 8 months down the line. Either they just burn through the money that they raise, or their use cases are not really use cases anymore. So always build for the long term. Try to keep that noise aside, and I think you'll be able to wade through the problems. And I personally feel that it is more easier to essentially become successful in crypto or blockchain space than in the traditional startup world. Although it is a founder's market outside, we have a lot of funding. I mean, the space is going to blow up big, and this is where I would recommend most of the developers to be.
Thank you. And I think from my end, I would also add one point, especially for when you are participating in hackathon and are thinking of like one of the challenges I saw is just coming up with the right direction as well and what you want to develop. So I would highly recommend everyone listening to just go and check Solana ecosystem and understand who are the players, what are they doing, what are their shortcomings, because that will help you a lot in terms of designing your product and understanding what might be a gap in the ecosystem. And I think that helped a lot from the previous hackathons, what I've seen. And Solana is also super interested in like picking those projects who solve something for the ecosystem and maybe there haven't been done the similar concepts, or there is a concept existent or the project working on the same idea, but it's just better implementation of the same concept, right? So I hope that that is helpful from my end as well. Guys, I wanted to ask you, I don't know, any other resources or protocols that you have been looking through and was helpful for you, or even like does worth checking out in Solana ecosystem. Please feel free to share. I think Shardul mentioned Encore framework. Shardul, if you have anything else, like wormhole bridge, for example, is one of the most important things as well that I would definitely recommend about it. Amitej, I think you have something to say.
No, go ahead. Nothing.
Oh, yeah. I think if you guys have anything to share, even the projects that are thinking about one and you think they're interesting, I think people would be interested to hear as well. Maybe Sreekanth, because you are also on that platform, you might be looking into a lot of projects. So anything interesting that came up recently?
Yeah, I mean, we're mostly looking at the narratives that are being built. I mean, I personally feel that Solana is meant for DeFi. Of course, it's not limited to DeFi, but if you're building any of the DeFi protocols or dApps around it, I think Solana is definitely the choice. I think there's a lot of projects that are being built, and obviously once Wormhole starts to bring liquidity to Solana or from Ethereum, obviously this space is going to kind of explode. So essentially look for ways to bridge the gaps between what is there. I mean, one of the things that I was suggesting a few people in the past, if you just look at what is there on Ethereum today, or what is there on other blockchains that are being built, like even Polkadot, for example, and see what is missing on Solana. That's easier way to simply just pick and do stuff. That's also how I feel that you can be a bit early and a part of the growing ecosystem on Solana. And in terms of resources, as Shardul mentioned, I mean, you have Anchor. A lot of documentation is being created by Project Serum folks over. I mean, that's one of the most bullish things that I've personally come across, that the entire team behind Serum, FTX are bidding on Solana. And obviously, anything that you can do to essentially bridge the gap and build liquidity over from Ethereum over to Solana is going to be extremely key. I mean, we all need to work towards the success of growing this ecosystem, right? So.
Thank you, Sreekanth. I think we are out of time. We have like 5 minutes left, so maybe we should go to the Q&A part of the session. And I already like one of the questions that Darshan has. It was actually about validating the use case. So he's addressing Sreekanth and asking, sir, as you said, use cases are not use cases anymore. So how do we evaluate that? Is what we assume a use case, is it really a use case? So basically, how do we evaluate the proof of concept? Sreekanth, maybe you can, yeah, because it's addressing you. We can start with you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so the way to look at what use case, I mean, see, everyone can start off with like I'm building a DeFi protocol for this, DeFi protocol for that. I'm building a launchpad for this. I'm trying to build something that will bring over liquidity. I'm going to build something like Uniswap or a DEX and all these things. What I meant to say that use case or not use case anymore is that if you're just simply just going and just copying over stuff, but not really adding value, right? If you're creating a copy of something, it doesn't mean that you are going to get market share out of that. If there is a DEX that has network effects, you need to be able to replicate similar things with what you're building, just copying the code. I mean, I've seen a lot of projects, they simply took Serum's DEX code and then they just changed the UI on top, and then they expect that to really work out. I mean, that's not really how it's going to work. So my suggestion is that while you're able to pick up the use cases, also just try to figure out what affects the network effects for the use case that you're solving. For any problem that you want to solve, look for the people who are building something similar, see if you can work with them, build partnerships. Like I said, crypto is a very, very close-knit community. There are a lot of circles that you can easily become part of, talk to them, exchange notes, see how you can strike partnerships with them. So I think that's the way forward. Essentially the crux of what I was meaning to say is that don't just build because there is money in it. Always try to build for the long term.
Thank you. Very helpful. Anyone else wants to add to Sreekanth's points? Anything?
Only the last thing is what I say that don't miss the security part while building, since that's very, very important. We have seen the recent not many hacks and cases. So build with security. That is one of the most important part that we should consider. And there are multiple docs available for Solana which give you the best practices on security. So while building, please consider security as well from the beginning itself. That's only I want to say.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So other question that we have is from Debbie Mahapatra. Other than hackathons, do we have any forums where we can pitch our ideas? So for this specific hackathon, we didn't organize demo day, but I think in the future, because we have so much projects coming out of the hackathon, we definitely are considering organizing demo days where projects that are shortlisted will be having a chance to directly pitch their ideas to existing ecosystem project founders and also the investors so that they can receive feedback and also funding. Hope that answers your question. And regarding the expert meetings for a few minutes, please DM me whoever wants some like a couple of minutes of the conversations. I think we will handle it for you and maybe help you find the expert in that area. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Denver, do we have anything else to accommodate or like answer?
I think we're pretty much done, and yeah, really was really nice to hear the perspective of everybody building out there. I think there's personally feel there's a great opportunity here for folks. So like all the action now is in the Web3 space, and also with Solana helping out, so helping founders, projects starting out so much. It's just easier. Like you think of an idea, you will get all the access to the resources you need, even follow-up funding, and then you can just make your dream project a reality very soon and move on to adoption and those stuff. Something that will take you years to just manage in the traditional Web2 space, you can do here within a matter of months, and that's simply amazing to witness.
Yeah, that's so true, and we have seen it multiple times, and I'm super excited to see results from this hackathon. Here to support you guys, and thank you, of course, our founders for joining today. Super helpful, and they are all in Discord channel, so if you guys want to interact with them, I think they will be kind enough to help out. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good day.
Thanks everyone.
Likewise.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.